Meadow
I love when we fight.
is a monster about this.
We've touched on shadow work repeatedly in this family, but we finally did like a what is shadow work? And I will say, by some of your questions, some of you did not listen.
You can identify a pattern. You can have self-awareness. You can live in self-awareness how all you want. What are you gonna do about it? I'm gonna move through it in my body and just get over it.
This is some hard shit. Shadow is hard shit.
Because listen, and I say it with you with love, but the only idiot in the room is the idiot that keeps repeating the same thing.
Training your awareness and your attention of your thoughts is fucking freedom, dude.
Regrets can be really good teachers if you let them be. Okay? Move on.
Let us know. Does this episode
I don't know though.
suck? Trigger our
Was
shadows.
today awful?
When we used to try to do that virtually.
Yeah.
And we like clap 5 seconds after each other.
Yeah. And then our old editor was like, you don't have to do that, right? We were like, well,
After months.
it makes us feel special. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. How's your week been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Thank you for asking. I have news. You've changed me.
Oh.
Big news, big announcement. I'm a Utah girly now. You did this to me.
Zoe did this to us.
But listen,
my 6'5"
I
man
refused
boyfriend
to get a Stanley. I got
made
a
us
hydro jug because somehow that's different.
Stanley girlies.
I'm convinced. I've had it 1 week
Changed
and
your life.
it's really good. I'm a hydrated bitch.
I really like that for you. The other day, I think my sister, I was talking to her about it because it like, we should talk about this if you're watching the episode, really brought something out in her when I was home for Christmas and brought my Stanley everywhere.
What do you mean?
I would just like walk around my house with it and like leave it around the house.
Yeah.
And she was like really annoyed about it. And she was like, why do you
I
have that
love
thing
these.
everywhere? It's so ugly. And I was like, why does it bother you?
Why are you triggered?
Like, why? Like,
Your trigger's your responsibility.
yeah, I'm like, that's super weird. And I think she's also she's a very like aesthetic, everything needs to be like, gets to my mom's house and starts rearranging everything, like that type of person. And I brought it downstairs for Christmas Day, and both her and my mom were like, get that thing out of this fucking room.
Well, so you know what's funny?
I was
Before
gonna
I
put it on
had
the table.
before I had one, I was very much like, well, if I'm home, use a glass. Like, don't be
No.
ridiculous. No, I have not. I just use it. I get it now. I don't know what happens, what comes over you. It's my emotional support bottle.
It's great. I look like an idiot everywhere I go, but I love that thing.
I made
it
fun
doesn't
of you
need to
so
be, It doesn't
much,
need to be a
and now I'm
Stanley.
on board.
It doesn't need to be a Stanley.
No, hydro jug. Get it on Amazon. It was great. So I just had to publicly apologize for making
being
fun
a
of
bitch
Gabby.
about my Stanley cup.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I love that development, and it matches the table.
It does. It's like with that and the computer, like half of me compulsively wants to put stickers on everything. And then the other half of me is like, you're a 30-year-old woman.
I had that moment the other day in my apartment. I started ripping shit off the wall. I was like, really came over me where I was like, you're 28.
And then did you scratch when the wall got scratched? That part? Didn't you scratch your wall trying to take something down?
Oh, I ripped a giant hole in my wall.
Yeah.
But I bought the putty,
Okay.
the
Good
little
job.
deodorant stick for the
Yeah.
wall.
Nice.
I haven't used it yet. I
Okay.
use it to touch up. I finally changed. Nobody cares. I changed the.
I do.
I'm gonna tell you anyway. I changed the art that's above my
In the studio?
above my couch.
Oh, nice. You've been wanting to do that.
Yeah, they're
I'm
cute.
very
I
excited
kept
to
the
see.
same frames. They're two side by side.
I need to
They're
come
really
over. You have a
cute.
new home. You got a new dining table. You got a new
It's
art.
changing.
Wow.
I'm about to get a new rug probably. It's things are
Did I tell you I have a rug guy? Do you know about my rug guy?
Yeah, you have told me about your rug guy.
Straight from Morocco.
Yeah.
Most competitive prices I've ever seen. I'll link you my rug guy.
But yes, I had that moment where I was like, stop being a child
Yeah.
and get this shit off of here.
Speaking of being a child, I am back to all lower caps on my phone, though, just to spite you.
The thing is, I need to clarify something because Meadow
I love when we fight.
is a monster about this. And
I am.
you,
But here's the thing. When you react, I'm a bully. If you react, then it's just kind of fun to always
because
talk
I need the
about
people
now.
to understand that, like, while I make fun of, for context, Meadow takes the time to go, anyone who does this is what I picture, and this is why it makes me laugh, that anybody took the time to go to their settings and be like, boop, off. And now everything is lowercase. And when
it's so much
something
it's
when
like
a
something
straight,
about it looks so much better to me. Like just visually, my brain likes it so much better.
When a straight man has that on his phone, it makes me giggle to a degree that
I could name one that validates that.
Yeah, like that stupid motherfucker probably was like, I'm gonna like aesthetic queen. Like it just makes me laugh.
But so does another straight man that I love too. I don't know. I just
it does look aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
But like for me, phone, I'm using it on do you know how pissed I'd be if I'd be having to send an email to somebody and I'm like, now I have to put the caps on?
I email on my computer.
But I do shit on my phone too sometimes. That's why I don't have it on my phone.
I just don't care because if I'm on my it's like I'm clearly on my phone because every time time I've emailed you, it's fine. And if you're really pissed about grammar, like for one email.
I don't disagree, by the way, for the record. I think it looks nicer aesthetically, which is why I'm bringing this up, is when I'm on social media stories.
Right.
I do.
Well, you also now have to be consistent with me on TMV stories.
Right.
It
just looks better.
It looks
better. It does.
Yeah.
I won't get behind it on the phone.
But it's funny.
If you're over the age of 25, take that shit off.
It's funny that going on a settings and going B is funny to you, but then meanwhile you're on Instagram going lowercase, lowercase.
I know.
Lowercase.
But at least it's for the art.
Yeah, true.
It's for the aesthetic.
True. So true. So speaking of your shadow.
Yeah. So today.
Transition.
We're doing a shadow work Q&A. We did a shadow work episode, which
was great. I loved it. We've touched on shadow work repeatedly. In this family multiple times, but we finally did like a what is shadow work, like a landing place for it. And I will say, by some of your questions, some of you did not listen. Go listen to the episode. It was good for a reason. We really planned it anyway.
Right.
So now, because that's out, and I've been talking to community members that say they're like deep into shadow work right now, which is so cool. So we thought, okay, let's do we love our Q&As. Let's do a shadow themed Q&A and keep it going.
And we wanted to come from all sides of it because not again, because we haven't said this today. If you're not on our Patreon, Anne Louise came back for a second time.
Amazing.
For Patreon only. And maybe we'll post some of those clips on social so you can get a little taste. We talked about shadow. And she doesn't agree with us. And we didn't agree. And but then we kind of came to a cool middle ground.
Yeah.
We had a really interesting conversation about shadow work and
why she doesn't like it.
And so I'm glad that I feel like this is like triple whammy moment where we're having all these conversations and through a new lens. Because if you listen to our previous unpacking, Meadows unpacking, I think is really great with what we're talking about today.
I do too. Yeah.
Because if you haven't listened to that episode, but if you choose not to, that's fine. She was talking about do you want to tell them what you were saying?
No, go ahead. Summarize me.
Just in a word or two. You basically were like, I'm over intellectualizing everything that's going on and I'm going to move through it in my body and just get over it. Yep. And I noticed that with the questions for today that I feel like we could all use that.
A little bit of that. Yeah.
I think with mental health becoming like less stigmatized. I'm like, how do I even want to say this? 10 out of 10 positivity. We're thrilled about this. We're so thrilled about it. With that, I think having different identities and different like languaging for things is extremely helpful for people to be able to be like, this is how I'm feeling. This is the box that I'm in, whatever. I think sometimes it can also kind of get to a point where it becomes a little bit limiting.
Yes.
And we get a little bit trapped in, well, this is a childhood trauma and this is a big T trauma and this is a little T, and like all the buzzwords are overwhelming. And while shadow work's been around forever, so incredible that we're talking about it now. I just want to urge people, and like I do this all the time too, and I have to stop myself from doing it. Things are important and things are deep, but sometimes they might not have to be.
Don't get bogged down.
Don't get bogged down.
Yeah.
Don't become obsessive about making sure that you're doing it right. Obviously, experts are remarkable. Go do it in therapy. Talk about it with a professional. So I'm not trying to be lighthearted because shadow work can be intense. But I think I'm just saying there might be a different route for you than for somebody else. And the way that I do it, the way that Meadow does it, or the way that whoever does it.
Or your therapist does it. Like it might just be different. I love that we're starting with this disclaimer. Don't get bogged down. There's no right or wrong way. Healing is as unique as every fucking person doing the journey. You know what I mean? Like it's all like with everything else we do here. Anything that we say is mostly from our lived experience. And if that resonates with you, amazing. And if it doesn't, maybe it pings a different idea. Also amazing.
And I don't mean to say that flippantly. Because
again, it doesn't feel flippant. Yeah.
It's not dumb.
No, this is some hard shit. Shadow is hard shit. Yeah.
Should we get into it?
Yes.
Question number 1. When you're in your shadow, how do you redirect yourself in real time to avoid spiraling? I feel like you have good
I'm
for this.
such a visualization gal for this. So 1, the book, The Tools, it's literally 5 visualizations and they have one for this and it's great. I think for me, so it kind of depends on the situation now that I'm hearing this, because sometimes I'm connecting with them where like I'm trying to bring them in, look at them, validate them, and then go do whatever task I'm doing. And sometimes it's like, oh, something in me is triggered and maybe I can go through it right now and maybe I can't. So if I can't, I think, let me put like a gold luminous box and contain my shadow and know they're safe in there and that this is something I will not forget and I will come back to this later, but I need to put it to the side to get through what I'm going through. Or if I'm now in the middle of having the space to look at it and do the thing, that's usually in a meditation that I either listen to a guided visualization or I walk myself one through a similar process. Which, should I share that entire process right now? Okay, I will. I'll do it quick. So if I'm in the mode to like fully unpack shadow or like explore it or look at it, I'll do something to regulate my nervous system, like do breath work, go around your house, whatever, get in the meditation zone, get in there. And then if you want to walk yourself through it, basically use that trigger as a roadmap or use whatever shadow that came up as a roadmap. And then what I really like to do is give myself an experience that my subconscious needs. So is there a version of me that could have played that out in a different way? Could someone else come and intervene? Could I have done something different? What does this remind me of in the past? Do I want to redo that one and not the one I'm working on now? Whatever, like give myself, remember that one time I shared in the original shadow work, how I gave myself that pep talk?
Yeah.
And talk to myself. Yeah. So if you watch that first episode, there's an example where I kind of detail out that meditation a little bit more. So I'll give myself whatever it needs. It changes every single time. I'm intuitive with it. Go with whatever comes up first. And you don't even have to explain it to yourself. Just go with it and trust that's probably right. And then after thinking through that, then do just the feeling. Where like, don't try to rationalize it. Don't try to keep telling the story and sit with your body and try to feel things release. Like the other night, I was really feeling like I felt like it was a vacuum sucking out stuff from my heart space and my chest space. And I just like did that till it felt like it went away. Sometimes that's 2 minutes. Sometimes it's 15. Like sit with it if you have the time, right? I should have prefaced. Also, in order to get to that point in my meditation, like go to your safe space, go to your favorite place in nature, roll your eyes back into the head. Like do all those little things that lead up to it really get me to a subconscious place where like all this kind of playing with the shadow feels more accessible. Like if I'm not fully deep in that meditation, it's harder to walk myself through this.
Yeah.
So I always try to do that stuff to really get me in there. So like feel all through that and then come out the other side and then do it over and over again for the rest of your life. Like,
yeah.
But those are that's kind of like the path that I follow when I'm doing it, when I'm in the thing.
The 2 things I'll add to that, because I think those are great. When it comes to spiraling, there's 2 things that I enjoy. 1, sometimes you got to fake the funk. Affirmations for me.
Totally.
Having like my nice list of affirmations that I say every morning. And like
coffee affirmations.
And
TM.
And also, even with that, when I first did that, I was like, Meadow, send me your affirmations.
Yeah, I remember.
And then I was like, why am I doing that? Like, yeah, sometimes it's nice to get inspired for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
But then I got to the point where I was using yours and now I have my own.
Cool.
And like, I've made my own list. So I think when I'm spiraling, giving myself that moment of just faking it. I'm like, we're going to say it until we believe it, baby. And then the other thing too is just always meeting yourself with self-compassion and just having that compassion there always. Because at the end of the day, sometimes I'm trying to say something eloquently and all that wants to come out of my mouth is like vulgar. And so I will say it that way. But you just don't shit out perfect. Yeah. I don't even know how else to say that.
Yeah.
In a way that doesn't sound that way.
It does the job.
It does the job. I hope so. And so meet yourself with compassion and be kind to yourself because you're not everything's going to be perfect all the time. Right. Moving on. Totally. And that's what Anne Louise says in the Patreon episode, that's her qualm with shadow work. Or I don't want to put words in her mouth, but that was one of the things she sort of talked about is like, I don't need to search for the ugly.
It'll come
the
up.
ugly's going to find me, babe. It's going to come up. And I really agree with that. I think that's great. So I think in those moments of spiraling, sort of giving yourself that like loving reality check of like, listen, we all have it.
Totally.
We all have these little, whatever you want to call them, monsters, things that we are embarrassed of, ashamed of, don't like about ourselves. But at the end of the day, the only way you get better at something, or the only way you become more loving around something, is to practice it.
Love it anyway, move on, practice it. Yeah.
Love it anyway, move on. Anyway.
Like, that sucks. And?
Yeah.
Yes, and? And just fucking move on. Listen to Ram Dass.
Okay.
My answer for everything.
Where do I begin with this work? I know what I need to work on, but my patterns are repeating. I'll give you an anecdote. When I was at HOFFMAN, Shock Counter, there was a day in between the days where we were just getting rid of these patterns and we were like stripping ourselves from it. And there was, I don't even think it was a full day. It was probably a few hours of between that and then between the
reintroduction.
Well, not even reintroduction, introducing new behaviors.
Yeah. Thank you.
So in that time period, I remember going to my teacher and I was so angry. And I was like, I feel
I remember this.
empty.
Yeah.
I feel like my heart is ripped open. You just took an entire chunk of my personality and it was my shadow. It was like we got rid of it. Or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get rid of it. But we removed all these
patterns.
You
released a lot that you had for a long time. Yeah.
But I hadn't gone through that phase of introducing these new behaviors. And that is what I feel like you need to be thinking about here. Because that is what was pivotal for that work of my patterns not repeating themselves. And you can do that.
Was the releasing? To be clear, was the space to not fill it and deal with that?
It was the introduction of new behaviors.
That's
what I feel like this person needs to think about.
Okay.
Because if you're just, you can identify a pattern. You can have self-awareness. You can live in self-awareness how all you want. What are you going to do about it? And you can't get rid of something and not sub it in with something else because what are you going to be left with? So I think that is the piece that I think sometimes we miss, is that introducing new behaviors. And you can do that through a variety of things. HOFFMAN has a bunch of these meditations on their app and on their website. I'm sure a bunch of other places do as well. And you can just like look those up of like shadow work meditations, reintroducing new behaviors or introducing new behaviors, rewiring neural pathways, whatever. EMDR with a therapist and an expert, built for that. It's built for that shit. That's less of like introducing a new behavior and pattern, but more introducing a different thought process around a subject,
which
or around
could
a trauma.
Then help you choose that behavior. Right.
So that is where my brain initially meant. Because listen, I said this to somebody earlier, and I say it with you with love, but the only idiot in the room is the idiot that keeps repeating the same thing over and over.
Makes
and over
the
again.
same mistakes or makes the same decisions and expects a different outcome. That's the definition of insanity.
Don't be an idiot.
Do the same thing over and over again. I think I feel so similarly, and just speaking to my same unpacking that we all know I'm going through right now, maybe in order to find the motivation or space or clarity. Because the way you say you had to feel empty and get rid of that before you could do that introduction, like, have you released it in your body? Asking the person that asked this question, like, is there something you need to do to like energetically, spiritually, or just like signify to you that you're getting at? Like, maybe there's something there that needs to be empty so you have space to introduce the new thing.
Well, yeah, you need to make space.
That's
so
what
I'm just saying, I feel like if they're saying that they know what the pattern is.
Yeah. It sounds like they have the awareness. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they've tried to get rid of it. They have the awareness, but it's like, is there a piece that you have to stop intellectualizing, physically feel like that, let go, wait till that space feels like open, raw, and empty, and then know, ooh, that's that time where now I try something new. And then the trying something new is also hard and also takes work, and you're going to have to correct, and there's just going to be days when you suck at it and days when you're great at it. And it takes a while, and it's practicing like you fucking train at the gym or something, you know?
And I hope that was clear, because I also don't want to sit here as someone who's not a therapist or trained in the way that those HOFFMAN coaches were, because that's why I'm
but you're
pointing
speaking your
towards
experience.
That. Yeah. That's why I'm not walking them through the specific meditation and visualization that we would do.
Sure.
That was like pivotal for me.
Okay.
So I would really just go, it's called recycling. So if you look it up on their app, like think about, that's the word that you would look for.
Cool.
We'll link it below, because it's, I don't want to.
Oh, I want to do it. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool. You'll like it. It's a lot of like.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions and not getting deep into my subconscious. Tips for grounding and getting connected and being inspired before shadow work.
I mean, kind of like how I answered the first question, in order for me to like really go deep and like hit that meditation space, I have to have like the full wind down routine. Maybe you want to do incense around your house. Maybe you need to do breath work first to get in your body. Maybe you want to do meditation. Maybe watch ASMR for an hour before bed and then do the meditation. Like sometimes it depends, right? Whatever floats your boat. But I have to like do different things to kind of start sending those signals of like, okay, we're going to a different place now. Maybe you have to journal. Sometimes I journal a lot before going to the meditation. So any like thought is down and out. So I like that too. So I know I don't have to think about it during the thing. Yeah. Those are some of the ones I do to help get in that space. How about you?
I like the ritualizing it thing. Because I think it's a nice way to take a moment and take a beat and set an intention.
Yes.
Instead of just being like, especially if you work from home. Yeah. And you're doing everything in your life in the same space. Yeah. Maybe you have a chair that's your shadow work meditation chair. Or, lately for me, I've been obsessed with these little incense droplets.
Yeah, you have.
Ripple.
Yeah.
And so I'll light that. And then I open the doors and just let the fresh air with the incense going out. And I watch it. I watch the smoke.
Beautiful. I love watching smoke. Out.
Yeah. And those droplets, side note, this is not sponsored, but like if you would like to hit me up because I'm obsessed with your product. They're these little droplets. They were my Patreon favorites, but
I saw, yeah.
What's so cool about them is that since they're little, it's like the perfect amount. So you don't have to like put it out and it's not going to burn too much or whatever. But you know how with incense, the flame will go out by itself. So I watch that and then all of a sudden the smoke starts coming out and it's this perfect little triangle that just burns down and it stays in the triangle formation until you dump it. So it's just like, it's so satisfying.
Of course it is, yeah.
You should sponsor us because that was the best free ad that you ever got, let me tell you.
Honestly, that would fit perfectly in this little ceramic teepee I have that we put a block of incense. You put it so it looks like smoke comes out of the little thing. I got it for Aaron.
Cute. How to stop ruminating on past mistakes. What did I say about being the idiot in the room? The idiot in the room is the one that keeps making the same mistakes. Regrets can be really good teachers if you let them be. Okay? Move on. Learn from it. Change the behavior. Give yourself grace.
Mistakes suck because you're like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And I get that. And I've been there and I have plenty of them. And then sometimes with time, you're like, honestly, if I didn't make that one, I probably would have made it in a different way. Like, they're so necessary for learning and growing and healing too. So the part of you that can just be like, damn, brutal, but apparently necessary. And like still love that anyway. Like that's shadow work in and of itself, and like, I don't know. I've been there before. So finding different ways to not ruminate. Again, releasing that shit through your body. Again, just like the gentle reminders and the trying to meet yourself with compassion. And every time we say that, that can be very much from you. Oh, fuck, I made that mistake again. Oh, wait. Okay. Now I'm going down that road. Okay. Stop. Breathe. What do I want to think instead? I know that logically that mistake was necessary for my growth. I know everything's okay. It changes nothing about the situation I'm in if I worry about it or not. So, and then like actively practice thinking down the other rabbit hole and then move on. Yeah. And like I will get in places sometimes where even when trying to think that through, I go back to the old thought and then have to reroute again. Like that's work. And it's hard. And I've been there too. Like I've been in that thought spiral, but that's that like really active practice of training your awareness and your attention of your thoughts is fucking freedom, dude. Yeah. It's so hard and it's so challenging. And it's like, what was the example I said to you earlier today? Like, it's like doing 100 pliés over and over for the ballet, right? Like you have to do it over and over and over. Again, some days are good, some days are bad, but as actively as you can to try to reroute and train that attention, because we really can train our thoughts in a way that you can't train your physical sensations and emotions. This is why CBT does work, right? Like when you tell people, you can't look at your stomach and be like, stop feeling a stomach ache when you're nervous. Right. And you can't tell your chest, oh, you have some weird feeling here, stop. But I can think, I don't want to have that thought. Let me think a different thought. And I can then get up and choose a behavior that's different.
Right.
So leaning into that it's hard, but that's how I do it.
It's so valuable because again, I will speak from personal experience, but I know I keep bringing up HOFFMAN, guys, but like and now I'm just like, it's so funny because it's not funny. It's amazing that so many people are doing it. Yeah. When I did it when I was 22,
not even Looney Tunes. You were in the asylum.
People thought I was in a fucking asylum.
Yeah.
Anyway, whoozles. Ruminating on past mistakes, to me, is a perfect recipe for self-hatred.
Yeah. And then probably making more mistakes. Because if you're already going there.
You're like, I'm already fucking here. I'm already here. Let me feel worse.
Totally.
And I have behaviors like that now. Where like.
Emotional cutting.
Hey everyone, popping in to say thank you to all of the amazing people who listen and watch this podcast. We're so grateful for each and every one of you and truly cannot say thank you enough for tuning in every single week.
In order for us to keep bringing you all great conversations and continue building our community and raising the bar, we're asking you for some simple and free support. Subscribe to our channel, follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and keep up with us on social at Thoughts May Vary Pod.
And if you're looking to dive even deeper, you can join our exclusive Patreon community and download Co-Create, our digital manifestation journal filled with over 150 prompts to help guide your curiosity and unlock new layers of yourself.
Thanks for being here.
Like, I have ways of doing that.
Yeah.
And it's so real. And I'm telling you, as somebody who was at a point in their life where they felt like a literal piece of shit, because all I was doing was ruminating on the fuck ups that I had done and then been like, well, you know what? I guess that's me. I guess I'm just a fuck up. I guess I'm just someone who XYZ. So I'm going to continue doing XYZ. And it kept spinning that wheel. And then it kept reinforcing it to the people around me. And I was like, well, if they think that, then I should think that. And you're in this stupid cycle. Cut it. Cut it the fuck out. Don't be the idiot.
It's never
in the
too
room.
late.
That's the tagline of this episode. Don't be the idiot in the room. Make new mistakes. You are going to continue to make mistakes throughout your life.
Yeah.
Make new ones.
Make new ones and then learn
new ones.
That.
Learn from the old ones.
And then watch as you do that, how the old ones got you to this new place. And then be like, well, I made a new mistake. Oof, brutal. Forgot how much that hurts. But look how much I learned from the past ones and how my life is in such a different place because I looked at those with more objectivity and love and compassion for myself.
Yeah.
So then it all feeds on each other. This shit is hard
though.
Like all these questions are good because like when I'm actively in this work, like this is the juicy hard shit.
Yeah.
So these are good questions.
Does shadow work mean healing childhood trauma? I like what you said earlier when I asked you this question.
I mean, it can. To me, shadow is like the umbrella term. So maybe there's a part of your shadow that has whatever trauma happened to you in childhood, you developed like that was like a rejected or shameful or you can't talk. Like maybe now that has a lot of sticky stuff. So like when you think about your shadow, you go back to that. That's totally valid. But a lot of other people could have shadows that's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Or you might too. Or like, so that could be one component of it. But then when I said that to you, you were like, what's so funny is the inverse is also true. Like childhood trauma is also an umbrella.
Ways to heal it.
And there's different ways to heal it. And shadow could be a modality. So it's like, pick which umbrella you'd like to hold.
Yeah. Different ways.
Yeah.
Different
strokes. So they can totally be overlapped, but they also do not have to be.
Yes.
Shadow, when we say shadow is like a thing. Shadow work is like a modality of healing, I guess you would say.
It's different than inner child work, which is
what I wonder. It's different than inner child work. But there is some overlap, but we get into that in that past episode of what is shadow work. They're both defined by Carl Jung. So and they both, I
think it could be a way that you address, which again is why something like shadow work, especially if you're dealing with specific traumas, is great to do alongside a professional.
Yeah.
To be able to feel safe to get you to those places.
Yes.
Meadow always says, use your triggers as a roadmap.
I do.
But then how do I continue?
Like, okay, you've identified it and like now where do we go? Okay, so you get triggered. You're like, fuck, Meadow fucking said use it. That's funny. You get triggered. You're like, God damn it. Meadow said use it as a roadmap. Like now what? So now take it to the journal. What happened? How are you feeling about it? What came up from you? What does it remind you about? What assumptions are you making about yourself because this trigger came up? How would your life change if you didn't have it? How would it continue if you did still have? Like, go through all the things, ask the questions, feel through things. Don't ask any questions. Don't try to solve it. Like, I just mean that's a beautiful starting point to then all of these modalities we ever talk about, visualizations, meditation, journaling, talking to a professional, not trying to heal the thing and feel it energetically, watching ASMR and visualizing it going away with whatever smoke, woo-woo shit they're doing. Like, all that shit, keep that trigger in mind and use that as the thing you're trying to heal. That's my point. Like if you're lost about what to heal and you get triggered, that's a perfect place to then take to any of these modalities that interest you to start exploring. Does that clear that up? Okay,
I think so. No notes.
Follow up if you have further questions.
What are some techniques besides journaling to work through this type of stuff? I mean, listen,
everything I just named?
Yeah, I'm like EMDR, therapy, somatic healing, getting into your body, meditation, mindfulness.
Visualizations. That don't have to be meditations.
To be magnetic.
To be magnetic TBM was my favorite shadow program.
Yeah, TBM is amazing.
Favorite shadow program.
We had Jessica Gill on from the TBM podcast. We are big TBM.
They gave us a code.
They did give us
We have a code. TMV. I'm 98% sure, and it will definitely be in the description.
So if we are wrong, we will A, put it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, and B, it'll be in the description below.
That was so Vanna White of us.
TBM is amazing.
It really was my favorite shadow stuff. They're doing a summer challenge. I just started doing the pre-work for it. We should do it. Will you be my accountability buddy for the TBM summer challenge?
But I don't know if I'm like as advanced. I haven't finished. Can I do it if I haven't finished?
You can do anything you want, honey. There are no rules.
Okay. Oh, wait, I had something that I wrote down for this that I wanted to talk about. Okay, something that really shockingly helped me, and I thought it was going to be a crock of shit when I did it. Monologues and dialogues. So pull out your inner monologue or whatever the fuck and have a dialogue with yourself. And so talk to your shadow. So we did this thing. Sorry, Hoffman. I'm just
that
we're talking about, or I won't tell you what we did with that, but for this, maybe pretend like you're having a conversation with your shadow and give your shadow its own little identity. Write it down or just have it in your head and have a conversation. Ask your shadow questions and be still, be quiet, and let them respond.
That's what I did in that What is Shadow episode. I swear to God, I like pulled them up. I knew which, because I have different shadows. I have like you can have a 13-year-old shadow. I have like a 21-year-old shadow. Like there's different versions of me that has different shadows. I pulled up which one was triggered and was like, I'm so sorry. This is what I meant to say. Like, how did you feel? Do you, like do the dialogue with it. That's totally what I did. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
And just let yourself, and I remember when I did it, I was like, how am I supposed to do that? Because it wasn't with myself. It was with a parent. And I was like, how am I supposed to have a dialogue with someone if I don't know the answer? And then it just comes to you.
Does,
And then you solve it yourself and you're like, oh,
yeah,
there we go. That's how it happened. Yeah. I also really liked, I don't know if somebody asked this later, but, okay, wait. There was something else that I liked about this. Maybe think about it in a way that is like leaning towards your artistic tendencies. Hear me out.
This is very me of you to say.
Putting it into your art.
Yeah.
Because your shadow, in the same way that we say like our patterns have skill sets, your little shadow has skill sets, babe. Put that work. Don't be afraid to like I drew mine out. Drew a portrait of her.
That.
It wasn't cute. We drew it out. We got it out. Personified it in a way.
Oh my God. ACOTAR people, for people that know that I now read fantasy books. If you're on Patreon, you know my theme for reading right now is hot mess, good time. I don't want anything intellectual. The same way I'm not intellectualizing and feeling things. Hot mess, good time books. That's what I'm up to. Spoiler, jump ahead 15 seconds if you care. In this story, there's like a part of the storyline where the main character, there's this mirror that like no one can get. Everyone that's looked in the mirror goes insane and no one's ever able to get it. And the way she was able to get it is the mirror shows you basically your shadow. Like the mirror shows you like what your soul really reflects, the good, the bad, the ugly. And if you can handle that and meet that with compassion and love, you can take the mirror and go do something, whatever. That was like a huge, this book, ACOTAR has so many mental health themes. You should almost read it so we could unpack it on Patreon.
Maybe.
Anyway, yes.
Right? Put that into your art.
Put it into your art. I love that.
Dance around how your shadow dance around. Make a song about it.
Exactly. Paint it.
Throw
paint at the canvas angrily. Like feel the feelings.
Or like
express it.
I've always wanted to do it like in Princess Diaries when they're with the balloons of paint on the wall. And
we could totally do that. I can make that happen for you. We could totally do that.
You know what I think I also really want to do? Take me to like, what are those like anger rooms called? You just throw shit.
Totally. Throw a plate.
But I think my overstimulated ass would need headphones.
Speaking of my shadow, you know, one of my shadows, I've told you this before, one of the worst fights I ever got in. Picked up a fake and I fucking smashed it. I was like, wow, I was so mean. Shadow. It was really fun. It felt so good.
I did that the other day. Nobody was around, but I was really mad.
Picked up a plate and smashed it?
No. Oh. Like, I just threw a ton of shit across my apartment.
Fuck yeah.
Felt really good. But no one was around. Don't scare anyone.
Listen.
Don't do this around someone.
I think, honestly, especially for men, I think men are quicker to go to anger and women are more quick to go to depression. Like, even for men, if you get really upset, like, go to a pillow and scream it, punch it. Like, this kid that I used to nanny for, if he got overwhelmed, we'd literally be like, go beat up your stuffed animal. Like, you can teach people how to move healthy aggression out of your body in a way that doesn't impact others. So you don't have to, like,
or scare someone else,
you don't have to, like, scare someone or assert your power. Like, you can go do that, and that's good. Like, release it. Yeah. Scream. Go scream. Primal scream all together. Love that shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm rewatching Schitt's Creek, and there's that scene where there's some girl has screamnastics, which is like a combination of like yoga or gymnastics and scream therapy. And I was like, that's low-key, that would do so well in LA.
I mean, literally today, like Zoe's staying over at my place tonight, and we're having a late recording session tonight. So I was like, oh, I'll be back late. Like, I'll see you when I get home. And he was like, oh yeah, don't mind. I'll just be screaming upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like we both had such a week where he's like, you'll just find me screaming into the pillow. Like, don't even worry about me.
Don't worry about it.
Oh my God.
I'll be great.
Screamnastics.
Screamnastics. Let's tell Zoe. Let's start a new business.
I'm just thinking of the Addison Rae and Charlie XCX song. Yeah.
I love that song.
Okay.
Have you seen the 360 video?
Not yet. I know.
We're going to stop this recording and watch it.
I know. We're not.
It is literally my favorite meme I've ever seen on the internet. 360 is the, what's that one Taylor Swift song, Bad Blood? This is the Bad Blood music video for girls that do coke. And I was like, that just read me to fucking filth. It's iconic.
Oh my God.
It's iconic. Please watch it.
Like, I need to start going to the gym again because my ass hurts from sitting down, which means it's not like fluffy enough.
We've been sitting down a lot today.
Last question.
Okay. Yay.
How do you shift negative thoughts when you're stuck in an emotional cycle? I feel like we kind of talked about this with like ruminating.
When I was in college, we said different tips like picture the stop sign or say out loud to yourself, stop. And then like sometimes you have to like physically do something or
Reroute.
Like, snap the rubber band on your wrist. Like sometimes there's some sort of thing that has to like wake you up out of it. For me, it's very similar to meditation where it's just like the second I notice, I think, okay, that's fine. We went down there, reroute.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it happens over and over and over again. Sometimes it's easier, but there's like little different signals you can send to yourself. I've done the rubber band. I've done the say stop out loud. I've gotten up and done 3 jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just got to like change whatever is happening and then really actively like take deep breaths and move slowly. And sometimes I think slowing down your thoughts can help. Sometimes it's like if you get too slow, then you just go back to the default, but slow enough that you're trying to be intentional about those first couple steps to form a new path.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
No, I like the rerouting. I think about it in the same way that they tell you in meditation. They're like, if you're having thoughts, don't focus on like just watch them like clouds. Let them pass. Let the thought pass. You don't have to be like, oh my God, I had a fucking
You're not
thought.
the cloud. You're watching the cloud. So once
you're
you
watching
notice
the cloud,
that,
yeah,
because like it's so easy to go into the POV of the cloud, and then you're like, oh shit, wait, I'm looking at it. I'm not it, and then you just let it go and move on.
Yeah.
And then don't judge yourself for having been swept up in it. Be like, oh, duh, that's normal. I'm a human. Obviously, I did that, but now I remember, and now just keep going. That's how I do it. Like it's easy.
Like what? Like it's hard?
What? Like it's hard?
Alrighty.
That was great.
That was fun. Hope that was helpful.
I know. I feel like I had the same answer for everything.
Well, I think there were similar vibes, but I think same vibe, different font.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Hopefully not. I hope it was helpful.
Let us know. Does this episode
I don't know though.
Suck? Trigger our shadows.
Today awful? Let me know in the comments below.
Let's watch 360 now.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
How's it going, y'all? It's Aaron. Don't let your Monday suck. Don't have those Sunday scaries. I'm tired of everybody waking up in the week saying, shit, it's Monday. You know what goes down? TMV releases every week on Mondays. Make sure you rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're watching YouTube, yes, TMV has a YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and ring that noti bell and never miss a thing. And also, join the TMV Familia by joining the Thoughts May Vary Patreon and by following @ThoughtsMayVaryPod on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you for listening.
Great.
There you go.
Thanks, AB.
Got y'all.